Hey gang, this is John, and I wanted to show you a couple of tips on how to stay dry in an emergency survival shelter. The ones made with tarps. Stick with me. Start with the Ridgeline. I'm going to use paracord that's got a loop in one end. This is a technique that Dave Canterbury demonstrated. You loop the paracord line through the loop. You want this waist high or so. You don't want it too high because if it's going to rain, you don't want it'll be splashing in. You want it as low to the ground as possible. Okay, on this end you tie a trucker's hitch. Let me get around where you can see me. Create a loop. Okay, then you pass the working end or the running end through the loop. Try to maintain the same level. And then you want to tie a slippery half hitch. Grab your tarp. I'm using a survival blanket. Bring the loop that the slippery half hitch loop up through and put a stake in it. Now that you've got this end staked down, go ahead and stake the other three corners. All right, so now we've got the finished, this is called the plow point, and I realized too late I should have had it facing the other way. Sorry about that. So as you notice, it's very low to the ground, and I was in a storm that was so severe that there was a tornado touchdown about 20 miles away. It was like a torrential downpour all evening long, and I stayed dry. And how I did it, I'll give you a tip on that. Hang on. You always want to carry 2 or 3 3-mil giant contractor garbage bags. See if I can show you this. They're super thick, heavy duty, and I typically carry 2 to 3, sometimes 3, most of the time 3. And what I did is, not only did I have a small tarp underneath there, which the footprint of the tarp you want to have smaller than your roof area, because you don't want water funneling down from the top of the tarp down onto the bottom and onto the ground, and then have it going wicking underneath and getting you soaked. So you have fold up your other tarp so it's smaller than the outline of the roof tarp. Then what I did is I got my lower body. It was really hot out. It was probably still in the 80s. I think that's why there was such severe weather. So I put my feet and legs in this 3mm garbage bag so that I could get as far back under the shelter as possible, so that I wasn't getting. You don't want to be too close to the entrance, because that's where all the splash and stuff is. So I got as far back as I could. What this did is allowed, in case my feet during the night poked out, or I had it slip just barely outside of the rain cover, my feet were completely dry, and my legs. So that's just a tip, that once you're inside the survival shelter, you want to get something that is heavy duty enough, because I had my shoes on, but you put your lower half of your body in there. You don't want to get your whole body inside one of these, because you're going to be sweating to death. So that's why I kept my upper body outside. But the entire time it rained, I was completely dry. My gear was dry, everything was cool, so I didn't have to worry about coming home all soaked. But that's just a tip that I thought I'd pass along, because a lot of people are using this type of shelter for emergency survival, and unless you've tried it in a rainstorm, you really don't know what if it's going to be adequate or not. And I don't think that it would have worked very well if I hadn't have used one of these 3mm garbage bags to keep my lower half, mostly like my feet and the bottom of my legs, from poking out from underneath. Anyway, I'm going to show you another type of shelter. This one is going to be a lean-to. Stay with me. This one is going to be more of a lean-to style, and it's going to utilize a couple of short pieces of paracord and 2 stakes, where the other one used 4 stakes. Okay. First thing we do is we tie 2 prusik knots on the ridgeline. Let me show you how that's done. Okay, you take the 2 pieces of short pieces, and then you just fold it in half and run the ends through that loop, and then just do that 3 times, keeping the 2 ends in the center of the knot. Dress the knot. There's the first one. Second one's the same thing. Fold the paracord in half, loop this around the top. Run the ends through the loop 3 times. And you keep the 2 ends in the very center. just like that. Now you take your survival blanket and you take it with the long edge up. And you run the one of the tag ends of your prusik knot through the grommet. I go to the other side, do the same thing. Do the same thing over here. Bring it in through the grommet. You can just put a couple of half hitches in it if you want. Slippery half hitch. Doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure it's tight. Okay? Now the back two, you want to just stake the back two out. Okay. The prusik knots allow you to slide the whole tarp back and forth on the ridgeline. And now, as you see, you've got a lean-to. You've got a lean-to structure, and now you can put another tarp under there. I'm just going to use this for garbage bag. But you can see, for size, you got plenty of space in here. so you could actually have your fire this structure, you could actually shade your fire to get it going if it was raining. The other one's too low, so you'd end up burning your tarp up. But this one you could use to shade your fire. Alright, I hope you enjoyed that. Those were just a couple of tips. Once again, I got the concept from Dave Canterbury, but I just, with my experience in that downpour, I just wanted to give you the tip because somebody might not have thought to have the garbage bags with them. That's another reason why you want to carry them, is just so that just in case you can slide your legs in there, or if you have to, you can duct tape two of them together and form a sleeping bag. But once again, if it's really hot in the summer, you'll end up sweating and getting all wet and stuff. So that's one thing you want to avoid, is getting wet. So with just having it on your lower extremities, you've got enough breathing going on that you don't overheat that way. I hope you enjoyed this, gang. Once again, John from Snap-on John 100. Catch you on the next one. God bless.